So, what's the future of working in startups? I think the trends are leaning on more and more into remote work. I feel like it's just going to continue the same, even for startups. That's an attractive bargain for like anyone they hire, especially at the early stage in your startup. It's super hard to find people who are willing to take that risk with you. To have remote work, it's a great incentive. And I know many developers that love remote working, and it's going to continue on the same trajectory, even though some companies have asked their employees to coming in over remote work will continue on, and especially around startups. And also, I think startups will incorporate more and more of equity and some more monetary incentives to the people who are willing to take that risk. Because, guys, startups, probably about good 90%, they fail. Job security that you're looking for, then startups aren't for you. They will tie in a lot more monetary value to begin with, and then from there, as the startup gets into a better state financial wise, they will keep offering more and more money and equity side early startup founders. Your focus is to get something up and running. Bigger the size of the pie, bigger your slices. So more the people that you have motivated and wants to actually contribute, wants to get it up and running, it's better for the team and it's better for the product. When you're thinking about future in startups, it can eliminate the demand for digital nomadism. So I've been seeing a whole lot of people in tech and people who are able to do remote work. They go on and travel the world, and they just don't stick into just one place and work from their office. It's been a trend that I've been seeing a lot. So I feel like that trend will continue. If you're starting a startup, kind of associate that into factoring as well. Time zones isn't an issue. I've actually run companies that runs across different time zones. You just need to get used to the proper ways of documentation and figure out meeting and stuff. But most of those communication can be asynchronous. I haven't seen it as a huge problem, although it takes some time to get used to. Once you get a hang of it, you don't have any problems with it. So keep things decoupled and build teams that are growable. We don't have to strike into just one place. Building a diverse team in a startup is super important. I've actually personally had this concern to myself as well, because when you're starting something, you tend to go out and seek the people that are similar to you. But truth of the matter is that does make it seem a little easier on taking different decisions. Like for an example, if you're a developer, you'll be most comfortable working with a developer. But the real value comes like when you partner up with a designer. So like you go out of your comfort zone, talk to people, network with them, and always try to partner up with people that brings in a unique skill set that you don't have. Different set of skills within your team actually enables to have a different set of skills in your team. So think about the diversity in your team, especially early on. Legal considerations for startups. I feel like this is a topic that we could talk a bit in length. Early founders tend to go out and try to come up with patents, spend a bunch of money up front if you've been putting into building the right service and product and selling it out to customers. That's the real value rather than considering all that. But yeah, while doing it in terms of legality, if you think of an idea and if there's like a slightly gut feel that it's not legit, it probably isn't. And when you think of the legitimacy standpoint of a startup or an idea, you and your gut knows best. I mean, if you're not stealing anything from anybody, you're most probably on the better end until you have capital and you have validation if your idea works or not. Only when you have that, spend money on legal concerns, but don't do shady stuff. Be legit. I mean, your gut knows better. Pivoting strategies for startups. When you think about pivoting, it's amazing how many companies doesn't do it properly. They just stick on the same idea for a long time. People are saying focus is the key, but still staying agile and not being fixated on something is crucial. Startup is all about focusing on one vision, and in terms of the vehicle that gets there, that can change. I mean, you can go to somewhere with a car or with an SUV, so that vehicle that gets there doesn't really matter as long as you get there. For me, it's super important that you're receptive to your customers' feedback and keep improving your product. And if something that you see that's a dead end, again, go and listen to your gut. It knows better. Yeah, so pivot when it's necessary. Don't just stay in one idea for a long time if it doesn't work out. Keep changing things around and A/B test it. Okay, so what is A/B test? So you have test A, so you have the material A and material B. You just put both of them out there to see what performs better and then improve. So you got to keep on doing that over and over until you find the product sweet spot. Evaluating startup ideas is one of the most important things that I could think of, because it's hard, because especially if it's just right at the start when you don't really have a shit ton of data. It's super hard to foresee if your product is worth something or not. So my best advice is, go on and build something and put it out there. That's the only way that you will find it out. You can do like all sorts of research, like business research and market research, but it's more important that you take action and put it out and test it. The importance of customer feedback for startups. I think customer feedback is super important because most of the startup founders tend to overlook this, but I feel like that's probably the most driving factor. Customers, they just ask for features off the top, and it's important to understand the problem behind the ask. And then you're the entrepreneur, you gotta be creative. There could be a better way of solving that problem. So when your customer asks for a specific feature build, take a step back and think if you could potentially solve it better than just straight up implementing. So in terms of feedback, focus on getting the right feedback in a problem form, not in a solution form. Bootstrapping or venture capital? I think both really got its own set of benefits, but I think bootstrapping is how someone get into it. Think of an idea, you buy a domain and probably like start working on the idea and looking out for partners who could help you build it. I really think going for funding at a super early stage, even to have those conversations and go out and talk to investors, it's actually better for the longevity of the startup. Ideas just come and go. When you start talking to people, that's when you realize its true potential, and it might get pivoted to something else. Who knows, right? Please go out and talk to those investors early on. Even if you don't get funding, you'll get tons of feedback.